There are really only 5 questions any interviewer really needs the answer to. Unfortunately, they almost never ask those questions. In this video, we're going to teach you those 5 questions, and no matter what question you get asked, you're going to be able to tell the interviewer exactly what they need to know. So there's only 5 questions that any one of your future employers are ever really going to care about. They won't quite ask them like this, but there's only 5. And whether it's for residency, fellowship, your first job, your second job, or your 10th job, they want to know, why are you here? What can you do for us? What kind of person are you? Are you crazy? What distinguishes you from the 1,000 other interviewees that are trying to come into this position? And can I afford you? So I'm going to translate those for residency interviews. Employers are primarily concerned about risk. They don't want to take a risk on any new employee. They've been burned in the past. So that's why visas are one of those things that they have been burned on, and they hesitate sometimes on taking someone who needs a visa. I apologize for bringing this up, and it's not that there's anything wrong with needing a visa. In fact, J1 visas going through ERAS and the ECFMG are super easy because ECFMG is the sponsor, not the institution. There's no money and very little paperwork compared to a resident who doesn't need one. That being said, they are hesitant. Let's go through some of the other perceived risks that programs have, that they're worried that you can't do the job, that you're lazy, right? They don't want to get burned by someone who's lazy, that you're irresponsible, that you have histories of sexual harassment. No one will hire you if you have a police record. If you have something that was in a police record that was expunged, don't bring that up. It was expunged. No one will find it on a background check. They won't. If you're going into the military, they will, or FBI, but not going into a hospital or even government work for a hospital. So this, I'm not going to read off all these. These are tons of reasons, and there's so many more when it comes to residents. Are you going to provide good patient care? Are you going to provide bad patient care? Are you going to make mistakes with doses of medications? Do you care if you're going to make mistakes? Do you have a history of drug use? In anesthesiology, they're the highest drug users in physician groups just because of the pure access. So these are things that they focus on very closely. Interviewing for a job is a lot like dating. You want them to like you, and they want you to like them. They want to know your interests. They want to know if you're compatible. They want to know if you're in it for the long-term relationship. They want to know if you want to be around them, right? So if you're applying to, say, a program in Arizona, you have no relatives in Arizona, you never set foot in Arizona, and you hate the desert. These are things that, one, you don't say, but two, that you need to overcome, because that's what they're going to be assuming when you come there if you have no link to Arizona. So maybe you actually love the outdoors and you want to live somewhere where you can ski, boat, climb, bike, and run all in one day. Anyway, so what do you need to prepare for an interview? You have to know all the answers to the questions before you get asked. All right. So again, the first question is, they want to know why you are here. Why at their door rather than someone else's? What is it about their program and rather than somebody else's that you decided to interview to? Now, this may seem like common sense, but you need to do your homework on the programs. Don't just Google them the night before. You have plenty of time right now. As soon as you get an interview, Google them that day. Spend at least 15 minutes doing it, but you don't have to study for tests anymore. This is your next test. Study like no tomorrow. So first, go through all the web pages associated with the individual program, then with the institution. All right. Take tons of notes, the type of research, the areas, the things that they actually flaunt on their website. If they've put that they have some type of international travel program on their website 2,000 times, well, that's something you want to regurgitate on your interview. And we'll cover that in a little bit. Also, back to the idea of going to Arizona or going to South Dakota. You've never been to South Dakota. They're definitely going to say, why are you here? Why do you want us? You've got to have good reasons. So on top of knowing the institution, knowing the program, knowing the people, you need to know the entire state, the town. Maybe you want to look up some things about local government, how easy or hard it is to get a driver's license, because all of these things will come and help you out if you actually match there. So if you can show that you've done this background research on your interview, answering this question is so much easier. Everybody knows you're here to get a residency, but again, why here? All right, what can you do for us? Residencies have lots of challenges. Teaching you is not a challenge for them. Teaching you how to take care of patients, teaching you how to be a better doctor, teaching you how to present, teaching you how to do tons of different stuff. That's not a problem for them. The challenges that they wind up facing are, say this, the pandemic. If another pandemic happened, they want residents that are going to work hard, that are going to not complain. You can complain after the fact, definitely. But first and foremost, taking care of patients. They want to make sure, again, back to what we said before, that you're not going to cause problems. You're not going to wind up causing harm on purpose, not necessarily by accident, but on purpose. You're not going to cause problems with your peers. You're going to know how to escalate problems. We're going to cover that a little bit later. That's one of those key things. Escalating problems to the right people is something you need to know how to do, and that you're going to verbalize during your interview in some answer. They want to know what skills you have in addition to being an outstanding medical student, because great, you're an outstanding medical student, they're going to take you, wonderful. What else do you have in your pocket that's going to help my residency program? Do you speak Creole and you're applying to a program that's has tons of Haitian patients? Do you speak Chinese, every dialect, and you're going to an area where there's a huge immigrant population from China, and so on and so on? So that's language. Language is the easy one. Maybe you have amazing skills with a confocal microscope, or maybe you invented some ways to use a confocal microscope and they have a large research lab. You want to throw those things out there. All right. Again, they don't want crazy problematic behaviors. Board passing rate. I didn't even remember to say that one. The board passing rate is extremely important to programs. If they don't have a certain percentage in their program passing, like pediatric boards, right? You have to have, I think it's over a 93%, maybe over a 95% board pass rate for first time test takers when for all the residents when they graduate. And if you're falling below that, you can get a warning or put on probation by the ACGME. And if you're not able to bring that board pass rate up, you're going to have a real problem. They'll cancel a program. Okay. So they want to make sure that you're passing. They want to make sure that you have the potential for future job success, because you are now going to be a reflection of their program. So they want to make sure that not only do you look good now, but that you're going to look even better later on. No medical errors, that you take criticism well. That's another thing that would be nice to throw in there. When they ask you about your weaknesses, or they want to know, one thing that I ask about always when I interview someone is, tell me about a time that you were taking care of a patient, you had to work with someone else, and the outcome was not what you wanted. So in that question, I'm asking them to tell me about times that they didn't take direction well and fixed it, that they didn't take criticism well and they fixed it, or how they interacted with someone else and gave criticism and whether it was good or not. So we ask questions all around that idea, because when we work with residents now, we have to tell them they did something wrong, and we need to know that they're going to hear us. Now, I shouldn't be shouting or yelling. I should be talking like this, and we want to make sure that you're talking and listening to what we have to say. All right, so you need to think about those things as you're working on your interview preparation. All right, so what kind of person are you? This is our third question, right? So what kind of person are you? They want to know, are you going to fit in, or are you not going to fit in? Do you have the personality? Are you crazy? Do you defy authority? If they have anything in there that makes it sound like you defy authority, they're gonna definitely not. Maybe they'll still rank you, but not high. And what are those types of things with authority and solutions? If you tell a story about how you knew something and nobody else did, and no one listened to you, and you got them at the end, that's horrible. You want to say how you worked with the team to figure it out together, and you brought the solution to the chief resident when you felt that the intern wasn't really listening to you well, and in the long run things turned out great. That shows escalation, that shows teamwork, and so on. You don't focus on the negative. There may be a negative in there because someone wasn't listening to you, but you don't focus on that negative. That's a side part that you try to avoid. You just focus on the positive aspects and what you did in a positive way. um, Following the chain of command. Do you listen from above, and then and so on? So a lot of the stuff that we talked about already. What distinguishes you from all the other interviewees? So everyone's going to say that they have great work habits and so on, but focus in on maybe some of those work habits. There's way too much to talk about. I'm not going to talk about individual work habits that we're looking for. You guys can guess all these and look them up, but maybe focus. Don't just say I have good work habits. Like for me, I'm dedicated to almost a fault. I will stay late with patients very frequently. I'll stay even overnight sometimes, not that I need to, but because I know that the residents may need my support, but I want them to feel that they're in control. So I'll stay overnight not telling them so that they can continue to have control, but I know that my patient will still have the best care possible if I needed to be there in seconds. So that's one type of work habit that people like to hear in someone in critical care where they don't make us stay in house all the time. All right, desire. They want to know that you really enjoy this, especially family medicine. Family medicine often is a backup specialty. So you need to make sure they know that that is what you want. That's what you've always wanted. Don't sound crazy though. That's why practicing these over and over is really important. Some people truly love something, but they come off a little nuts. An example of that would be like, I can't wait to do family medicine. I'm super excited about family medicine. Family medicine is exactly what I want to do. I've wanted to do family medicine my whole life. That is exactly what I want to do. My grandfather did it. My mother did it. My uncle did it. My aunt did it. My sister does it. I can't wait to do it. Like it's a little much, right? So you need to make sure that you are checking yourself with someone about the way you portray your desire. Perseverance, they want to know about that. They want to make sure that you don't give up. If you've done it once, you've done it again, right? You're going to have a record of perseverance. Make sure that you work that into some of your answers. And then any other unique qualifications that we kind of touched on already. Can they afford you? This is all about risk. Are you going to leave them? Maybe you get into their family medicine, but you really want to do internal medicine and they can figure that out and they don't want to take you and then you're going to leave, right? That's something that happens. They want to make sure that you want to live in the area. They don't want to hear that, oh, well, my wife will be matching next year, so I'm just going to see what happens. Ugh, you don't want to say that. You don't have to talk about marriage. You don't have to talk about family. There's a number of things that are off the list, including religion, creed, sexual orientation, if you want to have kids, if you don't want to have kids, all of those things. They are not allowed to ask you about. Now, sometimes they ask those things as casual conversation just to kind of relax you. So don't get offended if it's one of those things that they start from the beginning saying, oh, is your family from around here? No, actually, that one, if they say, is your family from around here, they're always trying to figure out if you're from that area. But you don't have to answer any questions about any of those personal type things. You don't have to be rude about it, but you do want to answer in a way that's professional. And you can say, oh, well, I have family in lots of different places. But what I really like about Arizona is, and go into that. Instead of saying, I'm offended, don't ask me about that. Okay. All right. So are you going to cause someone else to leave? Are you a liability or are you going to succeed? And I think we covered a lot of those examples. So we're going to move on from that. But these are the 5 top questions that they want answers to. They don't ask them directly. They ask them in roundabout ways. So these are the 5 things that you must be prepared to get across to them through the words that you're going to share with them. Okay. If you don't answer these 5 questions for them, then you have not had a successful interview. And again, they won't ask them flat out, but this is what they want to hear.